Some people refer to formatting of worksheets as decorating them. Well, in some ways this may be true, but I tend to take a little bit of offense at that particular word because formatting, while definitely making spreadsheets more visually appealing, is really more about making the data more understandable by drawing attention to or emphasizing different parts in different ways. Regardless of whether you consider formatting to be just a matter of decoration, an enhancement of the data itself, something in between, or both at the same time is not terribly important. What is important is knowing how to apply formatting and how to do so efficiently. That is why understanding how to apply, as well as how to create your own styles, is an important skill. Hopefully, you already have experience formatting cells and ranges of cells in standard worksheets. We're going to extend those skills by applying them to multiple worksheets using styles as well. In order to do so, our worksheets must be structured the same way, then grouped. So as we apply formatting to the active sheet, it applies to all of the sheets within the group. We happen to be working in the Formatting Multiple Worksheets file that can be found in the Chapter 3 Working Files folder if you want to follow along. You'll notice at the bottom of the screen, we can see that we actually have a total of 5 worksheets. Each of these worksheets is structured exactly the same way. They include the summary sheet, one for Boise, Boston, Denver, and Seattle. So our first step is going to be grouping these together. You can do that by using Click-Shift-Click, or you can simply right-click on any one of the worksheet tabs and choosing Select All Sheets. You notice that if you can see, they all become lit up instead of just one of them being lit up, which is what happens when we're working with a single worksheet at any given time. You also may notice, if you look all the way back to the top of the screen, up in our title bar, that the word group appears to let us know we're not working with just a single sheet, but in this case, at least 2 or more. Believe it or not, that's really the hardest thing we have to do. The next thing we're going to do is simply use standard formatting techniques. For example, all of our sheets have labels in cells A1 and A2. Since labels should stand out, we'll go to the Home tab and we'll simply click on the bold button. Let's do something a little bit more exciting though. Let's select our labels that go across row 4, from A4 all the way over through all of our months, through and including annual, which happens to be cell O4. Now let's do a little bit more with these. Let's make them bold, and I'm going to do that using the keyboard shortcut Control-B for bold. Then we'll do a couple of things from the toolbar. Maybe we'll make it a little bit larger font size, maybe 12 point. Maybe we'll add a bottom border. Let's go ahead and put a fill color, maybe a nice orange. Let's make sure that they are centered horizontally. And lastly, just to add a little bit of visual punch, let's go ahead and use our orientation option, which is found on the Home tab in the alignment group, and let's go ahead and angle our text. Let's choose angle counterclockwise. Okay, so now our labels definitely look different than they did just a moment ago. The purpose was to somehow differentiate our column labels from the rest of our data, and I think we've accomplished that pretty well. Our other goal, though, even though we were working on one worksheet, was to have it apply to all of the worksheets in our workbook. So let's take a look and make sure that that actually happened. If we move down to our worksheet tabs, we can start by ungrouping the worksheets. A simple right-click on the tab and choose Ungroup Sheets. As we click through each of them, we can see that although the data may be different, the formatting we applied has been applied to all of them in one easy step. So that wasn't too hard, kind of a review of basic formatting as well as a warm-up for what we're going to do next. But let's say that we need to apply that same format to another set of worksheets. Can you recall all of the properties we just applied, including the tints of colors in our fill? Well, even if you can, the real answer is that we shouldn't have to. A friend of mine once said, "Don't memorize anything you can write down." And that's never truer than when it comes to trying to remember a bunch of formatting properties. So how do we do that? Well, the answer is to move from standard formatting techniques to saving all of those different properties as a style. Before we do that, let's go ahead and group our worksheets once more. This time, I'll use Click-Shift-Click to select the entire range. Now that they're grouped together, let's select cells A1 and A2. Now, earlier, all we did was apply bold to that. But what we're about to do is look at one of the newer features that we find in Excel. In versions of Excel prior to the ribbon, in other words, before 2007, styles were found under the Format menu. But using Excel 2007 and later, we use a beautiful feature that I actually love that can be found on the Home tab, about 3/4 of the way over in the Styles group, and it's called Cell Styles. When you click or tap on this, it expands and shows us the Cell Styles gallery. And we'll start here because Excel actually comes preloaded, if you will, with a lot of different styles. They have some that are specifically designed for good, bad, and neutral. Some that specifically apply to different things you might want to do, like including warning text or explanatory text. It even includes some of the things that you may be used to. If you look all the way at the bottom of the screen, many of the number formats, like the comma format or the currency format or the percent format, are actually saved as styles. Because we're talking about the labels in cell A1 and A2, instead of just applying bold to them, we might have chosen to use a style instead. Let's go ahead and click or tap Heading 2. The gallery closes once it's applied, and these now include the style called Heading 2 instead of just bold. Now, we're not sure exactly what that style included. It may have included font, it may have included making it bold, may have included the font size. But whatever it was, we just applied it, and we applied it to those two cells across all of our worksheets at once. My basic approach to life is always to keep it simple if at all possible. So if a predefined style works, then use it. But if a predefined style doesn't work, then you want to create your own styles. I'd be the first to admit that often we want formatting that just isn't a predefined style. It could be because none of the predefined styles conform to our branding requirements, or it could just be because we have our own sense of style and want to express that in the formatting of our worksheets. In these cases, we create styles of our own. Take our column headings, for example. We've already applied formatting to these. Now, we don't have to select all of them, but if we select at least one cell that contains the formatting that we already want, we can do something called creating a style by example. I kind of like this because you can take your time and visually set it up exactly the way that you want, and once it is the way that you want, then you can create the style. Regardless of whether you have it formatted or not, we always create our own styles the same way. We go back to that Cell Styles option on the Home tab, but instead of using the predefined styles we find at the top of the gallery, we go all the way to the bottom and click or tap New Cell Style. This brings up the Cell Styles dialog. The first thing we need to do is give our style a name, and the style should probably have a descriptive name, so I'm going to call this Column Headings. Now notice I didn't say specifically that they were months of the year or anything like that, because we're talking about the style, and that can be applied to really any data that we use, not only in this worksheet, but across worksheets. Because we already have the formatting applied, we can use the left side of the box that's called Style by Example. The first thing to do is to go ahead and choose which of the features you want to use. For example, do we want to include the number format? Well, these are labels, so that really isn't important. If we don't want to use that, we could turn it off. That means that we could also apply it to cells that had actual values in them, like numbers. And if so, then whatever format they had, maybe currency, accounting, or percentage, would stay. It's not going to change the number format. We do want to include the alignment. Notice it tells us what that is. Horizontal center, bottom alignment, rotated up 45 degrees. Do we care about the font? The fact that it's not only bold and 12 point, but also that it's Calibri. And I'll say in this case, yes, we do. Maybe Calibri is part of our branding. Do we want to include the borders? Do we want to include the fill? And do we want to include protection? We'll go ahead and turn off protection. We want to keep the fill. The primary things we're concerned about with our formatting is the alignment, the font, the border, and the fill. Now, if you didn't already have these formatted the way you wanted, you could click the Format button, which would open the Format Cells dialog, and you could set everything there. But as I said, my preference really is to format by example because I can get it exactly the way I want, then come in here and simply select the checkboxes and click or tap OK. That's all there is to it. That's all there is to what? What did we do? Well, I'm going to press Control-N to create a new worksheet. And we'll just move down to just a general cell and type some text. What we can do is we can now see if our style actually worked. Because we're in a new worksheet, we can see that styles apply across workbooks. They're not limited to a single file. If we go to our cell styles and expand the gallery, you may be concerned that you don't see it. That's okay. I wanted to show you one more feature, and that is that even though styles can be shared between workbooks, it doesn't happen automatically. You need to do something called merging. At the very bottom of the gallery, if we click Merge Styles, a window opens showing any other Excel file that we have open. In this case, we choose the Formatting Multiple Worksheets file, and then click or tap OK. Now when we take a look at cell styles, we can see our custom style is right at the top, and if we click on it, it's applied with all of the wonderful formatting that we created, and we didn't have to remember all of the details. So as you can see, once it's saved, we can apply that style to as many worksheets as we want, and even to different files by using the Merge feature. Being able to apply formatting consistently and quickly to more than one worksheet at a time is the first step to making your work in Excel more efficient and consistent. Being able to store formatting properties and apply them with 1 or 2 clicks frees your time and your memory for more important things. Styles offer a powerful, convenient way to not have to memorize things that you can write down, or in this case, things that you can have Excel remember. Once people see and understand how to create and apply styles, I honestly can't figure out why anyone would refuse to use them anytime they know they're going to be applying the same formatting more than once in their lifetime. Styles are the perfect feature illustrating your ability to work smarter, not harder, and free up your memory for other things that may be more important than just fill colors and font sizes.